Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. I am Nikki Maduro, live from my brother's house in Arizona. Kim, hopefully, forgot and will be here in a little bit. I did text her, so maybe she'll join us, maybe she won't. But Happy New Year to everybody. And I want to start off by saying thank you to Lori above the bar and Daniel D. Happy New Year, she says. Nikki and Kim, thank you for keeping us sane. Warm regards, Daniel D. and Lori. Thank you for the $27 donation to start us off for the new year. Thank you guys so much. We are 100% crowd supported. And like we said last time, we appreciate all the support that we get from you guys. If it's only a thumbs up, if it's a super sticker that you can donate, if you want to join our Patreon, of course, the NikkiMaduroShow.com is how you do it. But just being here to join us on our first show of 2025, which has started off, and I really don't mean this with a bang. I mean, it's been a really dark way to start the new year, and we're going to get into it in just a little bit. I was hoping that Kim would be here so we could start off with a little bit of a lighter kind of start. My brother's over here. You want to meet? Everyone wants to meet you. Come. Everyone. So this is my brother's house. This is his wife, Jessica's doing. If you guys know the Nikki Maduro sign, his wife, Jessica, did that. Now, they're not going to be able to hear you. You can't hear them. See, this is how we look. See, look how cute we look. So this is my brother, Michael. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay. So he's awesome. He's been amazing. I don't have the video up, but maybe I'll show you the video of me surprising him. I surprised him. We drove all the way from the Bay Area to Arizona. I'm only doing it once. Absolutely. But everyone says Happy New Year. Thank you. But yes, absolutely had a great New Year. We watched the ball drop on TV, I think 3 million times. Hopefully you guys were able to ring it in with some loved ones. What did you guys do? Let me know in the comments. I'd like to just start off with a little bit of happy news before we get into the tragedy of starting off the new year. Thank you, Pamela, for the $10 super sticker. We love you. Okay, watch the lines. These are my girls, Marley, Maddie. I forget your name. Sophia. Maddie's good friend, Sophia. Say Happy New Year, girls.
Happy New Year.
They're off to get Dutch brothers. Okay, watch the court. They're all here. Everybody's here watching the show. So thank you guys so much. We love you all. So it's a full house here in the Maduro household. So I just absolutely love everybody being here. Yes, Tony, I drove with my best friend. We had to stop in Needles, California and sleep because we left like at 11 o'clock in the afternoon and there was something happening in LA. And it was, I don't know if it was the football game or insane traffic, but we had to make a detour in Bakersfield, like 3 hours out of the way. And so, no, we weren't going to do it. It was me, my best friend, and all of our kids to surprise my brother. And so we stopped in Needles, spent the night there, and then we surprised him. And it was so much fun. And I just love my brother. He's my twin, even though he's 2 years older than me. So yeah, it was really, really, yeah, exactly. We both have the same smile. So it was great fun. And I haven't seen him. I don't get to see him enough. And yeah, it's been a great start to the new year. I will tell you though, when I woke up, of course, and you know, you turn on your phone, right? And we talked about this. Right? We talked about this, wanting to start off the new year, right? On a positive note, to focus on the things that we want, not on the things that we don't want. Oh, hold on. I got a message from Kim. Let's see what Kim says. Hold on. Let's see what Kim says. Oh, she's coming. Okay. So Kim will be joining us in just a moment. But starting off the year with what we want to focus on, right? Right? We want positivity. We want, focusing on, and we'll talk towards the end of the show about, do you have any New Year's superstitions or things you do to welcome in the new year? And then you wake up to New Orleans. And then a half a breath later to the explosion in front of the Trump Tower. And you're like, son of a bitch, what is going on out here? All right, let's welcome to the show the Kim McAllister, and Happy New Year, my friend. 2025.
Hi.
Let's raise our glasses. It's a
Happy
very
New Year to you too. I
it's
have
a
my
very
great tea. Happy New Year.
it's very dark
Yeah.
kind of start to the year. You know what
It
I
really
mean?
is.
But
What a weird start to 2025. I hope this isn't the way it's going to be all year long with weird stuff going on.
I will say this, and we'll get into New Orleans, obviously, in the latest there. The sad thing, and of course, obviously, the Cybertruck explosion in front of Trump Tower. When the news first broke, nobody knew that somebody was inside, right? Like I didn't know that somebody was inside. I thought, honestly, oh my God. I was sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, a Cybertruck caught on fire. Because you hear these things, right? Some sort of electrical thing. I was even explaining it to my sister-in-law. I'm like, oh, these things happen, especially with these Teslas and these Cybertrucks, the lithium batteries, some sort of. And then all of a sudden you start, breaking it down, and there was a person inside. And not only was a person inside, obviously now we know it was on purpose. And it's just a weird way of starting the new year. And not only that, the fact that we're talking about things like ISIS and these kind of homegrown, radicalized Americans, right? Because these are Americans. These are Americans, and not just any Americans, people. These are our military. These are our military. And that, I think, is what freaks me out the most, is what the holy hell is going on. And I saw teacher Lori's comment earlier before the show. She says, this morning I heard from several people who are at bases, military bases, for various reasons, that Fox is on at U.S. bases 24/7 anywhere there's a public TV. That's new information for me, and it explains a lot. Oh, where was I? We were on vacation somewhere, and it was true. I was out of it. Oh God, I can't remember where I was. Oh, my husband would remember. And I remember we were in a lobby, and it was literally every single television was Fox News. And then there might have been like a cooking show, but there was no CNN. There was no option. It was Fox News or like a cooking show. And I don't know if that's, a personal decision made by the business, but that was the decision that was made. Now, I think the reason why I also want to bring this up was the inaccurate information made very early on by said news organization, Fox News. And I think at this point, we all know what we're talking about, was that the vehicle driven by the alleged, but the New Orleans terrorist was that it had left the country and then come back, but it hadn't. Right? That apparently the vehicle had left the border 2 days ago and re-entered the country, and that was not the case. But of course, Fox News does not make a correction quick enough. Our president-elect rolls with it, and right now, the House Speaker Johnson is still spewing this nonsense about Biden's open border policy in some way, shape, or form having some sort of connection to the tragedy in New Orleans. And it's just absolutely, it's ridiculous. And I just don't know how to make sense of it all.
In their defense, it's weird that both things happened and there's so many similarities.
Oh, you're talking about between the Trump Tower and the New Orleans.
So
of course.
Both members of the military.
Yes.
Both kind of domestic terrorism incidents.
Yes.
It looks like. I don't know. It's very strange. Now,
but it doesn't have anything to do with the border, is my point.
No,
it's this narrative that Fox News was pushing early on that Trump and Johnson are rolling with is bullshit. Yeah. It is. You know what I mean? And they're rolling with it because it makes political sense for them. Yeah. And it pisses me off, because what we should be focusing on, even if they're not connected, which I agree with you, Kim, the similarities, I mean,
it's weird.
It's weird. They were both in Afghanistan. I mean, there's so many connections. And also the Turo app. This is a bad day for the Turo app. They're like, son of a bee. Like, did you have to both use our app? I'm wondering, and you guys let me know in the comment, if this is going to really clamp down on the quote unquote sharing economy, because the Airbnb that was used by the New Orleans terrorist, right? Both of them used the car sharing app, the Turo app. I mean,
Mhm.
it's because of the lax security with these apps. You don't check IDs, you could do it
Sure.
online. I mean, how do you prevent that unless you start really messing with how these businesses
Yeah.
work, right? And it's just, I don't know. I'm devastated. The people in New Orleans, obviously the Sugar Bowl was moved to today.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know. It seemed online, and I know this is just online. There were people saying, why move the Sugar Bowl? Why couldn't it be played yesterday? I mean, I just feel like even in times of absolute tragedy, we can't get it together even for one day.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really, really sad. President Biden obviously made a speech before the Sugar Bowl, which was which aired today. It was moved today. I'm going to play you a little bit of it. Okay. Now, I want you guys to listen very closely to tell me if anything that he says offends you. Okay.
Today, all Americans thank the people of New Orleans. We pray for those killed and injured in yesterday's attack. We're grateful for those brave first responders who raced to save lives. We're glad the game is back on for today, but I'm not surprised because the spirit of New Orleans can never be kept down. And that's also true of the spirit of America. Just have to remember who we are. We're the United States of America. There's nothing beyond our capacity. We do it together. God bless New Orleans. And God protect our troops.
All right. Did he say anything that offended you?
No.
Okay. This is what I don't understand. People are like, "Oh, I can't wait till that guy's gone." Underneath the
Why?
video on X, which is stupid. I know it's a cesspool of just the worst people, but it's like, what the hell? Even in times of what I would say national tragedy, right? I mean, this hit our country. Something is going on to the United States, right? This outgoing president, which I understand politically you may not support, but
Right.
even now, you can't listen to the guy who is trying his best to just address a nation in mourning over this tragedy. And people are like, ugh, can't stand that guy. Blah, blah, blah. Even at the Sugar Bowl, they did the national anthem. Everyone's like, USA, USA. And I'm not saying that all of those people were being hypocritical, but then
Mhm.
there's just this total opposite thing happening online when the president of the United States is talking. And then there's a part of me that's like going to be a hypocrite right now, Kim, and say, I wonder what Trump would have said if it was him being president right now. You
Well,
know what I mean?
didn't he put out a message, right?
Oh, I don't know if I even read his message. Did he put out a message?
Yeah, I think he put out a message.
What was his message? I mean, was
Uh,
it a good message? Let me see. I don't know. I don't follow Donald Trump, so I don't on Truth Social. Did he put out a message?
Well,
Because I
listen,
don't follow him.
every time Trump opens his mouth, I'm also turned off. So
Mhm,
maybe if you hated Biden in the way that I really dislike Trump,
mhm.
you would feel the same way. I don't know, but I don't know what they expected him to say. What they expected President Biden to say.
I mean, what do we want from a leader, right? What do we want? And I see in a lot of your comments, someone was mentioning earlier, on Mark's show, that we've been, terrorized by Trump and Elon Musk. And we'll talk a little bit later,
Mhm.
about the Trump presidency on the way and, the infighting happening within the Republican Party with things like H-1B visas and all that sort of stuff. And which is a very good debate. I think that needs to happen. Honestly, I
Mhm.
like actually the debate. I think it's an honest debate that does need to happen. And I'm also enjoying it because it's happening within the Republican Party. So it's just kind of pop the popcorn type of thing. But, I just, on one hand, I want this country to still come together. I hate the fact that we are so politically divided. I understand that I am just like any other American and I play my own role in it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
on one hand, I want us to heal. On the other hand, I cannot stand the fact that Donald Trump's going to be the president of the United States for the
Right.
next 4 years. I can't stand it. I'm just going to be, I think, all of us are going to be honest. It's just going to be a total shit show. So I want to focus on the things that I want to happen, right? Like I keep saying, like we were saying at the end of the year, I just worry that when tragedy happens, when crisis happens, it's always going to have that Trump spin of blaming the Democrats or if we're not going to have that Biden speech that we just heard. It's going to have this negative spin because, right, exactly, Vanessa. Trump blamed the New Orleans tragedy on immigration, and then it turned out it was an American that did it. Right? It's going to have always this twist of blaming something other than we need to come to terms with the fact that this was an American, yes, radicalized, but there are white men in this country radicalized, white nationalists radicalized by their own faith, their Christian faith, or fill in the blank faith, right? Like people can be radicalized by all sorts of things that are religions of peace or, all sorts of things. Being radicalized towards violence can start off with something that was completely opposite of that. And we need to come to terms with that. Why are angry, let's just say men, because they can come in all colors, right? Why are they so angry that they're willing to literally blow themselves up in a Cybertruck? Like, think about that. And I don't even understand and again, I don't know. I didn't find anything. Did this guy leave? Did this Matthew, forget his last name, the guy that was in the Cybertruck, has he left anything that we know of any sort of?
I know they were searching his residence in Colorado Springs, but I don't
know
know
the
what they
tattoos
found.
match his name. I know, but there hasn't been a complete, at least last check, confirmation that it's him. But some family members and friends say the tattoos match up. Phineas says, Nikki, there is no way we can come together. Trump is a divider, not uniter. That's the biggest problem. He wants crisis and division. Dems are the enemy to Trump. Bryce says the Democrats need to go for the moderate strategy. Get Gavin Newsom to pick Andy Bashir for vice president. Hold on. Wait. Newsom, vice president. Newsom's not going to be president. So we can just stop there. Who is it? Solid red from Kentucky.
If Kamala Harris was too, quote, liberal for people,
there's no
then Governor
way.
Gavin Newsom has no chance. No chance at all. It's interesting because I was reading this comment by John Fetterman, Senator Fetterman, and he was saying, wait a minute, everyone who's upset about Trump, cool down, chill out.
Right.
He said, I root for Trump because I'm rooting for America. If you're against Trump right now, and this is a Democrat speaking in Fetterman, right? He said, then you're rooting against America's success. And I disagree with him because there are things that Trump wants to do that I don't think are good for
America. Right.
So in that regard, I would be rooting for America's success in rooting for Trump's failure. Like, I hope Trump doesn't is not successful in some of the things he wants to do in deporting all the immigrants. Like, I hope he's not successful at that. I think there are immigrants that are here, that are making our economy work, that are keeping some of our industries alive, that have managed to be here for a long time and are part of the fabric of this country. I don't want everyone deported. Absolutely not.
Right.
Do I hope he fails at that? Yes.
Exactly.
I do hope he fails at that. Do I hope he fails at getting rid of the Department of Education and doing away with the Environmental Protection Agency? Yes, I hope he fails at those things. I want clean air and water. I don't want that at the, I don't want business to succeed at the expense of our health.
And, as you say those things, I think that when people say, I want America to succeed, and we talk about focusing on the things that we want, I think that that's how we have to frame it. It's like, I think we need to stop framing it as Trump succeeding. I want our government to succeed in giving us a working economy, clean air, successful education for our kids. That's what I want. And that's what I want to pressure our government to give us, not Trump to give us, not even Biden to give us. Like, we need to start talking to our representatives and forcing them to give us the things that we want.
Right.
Right. So instead of saying, well, Trump needs to give us this or Biden needs to give us that, what we need to say is, I want these things. These are the things that I want. And that's, I think, what we need to focus on in that whole narrative of stop focusing on the person as if he is God, right? Like, Trump can't give us those things friggin' anyway. He can make all the promises in the friggin' world, but it's Congress, it's bills and passing laws that give us these things. It's not him, as we can see, because he can make all the promises he wants and he gets nothing done. Tammy says Trump radicalized a third of the country. I mean, Tammy makes a really good point. I mean, the amount of BS that he spewed out that people bought, you know what I mean? And voted for him again, even though half the crap he said never came true, right?
Well, and people are voting against their own interest. How does he manage to do that? How does he manage to get the poor people to vote for him when he absolutely has nothing to offer them? Don't know.
Because it's, again, I think that, and we'll talk about this when we talk about the H-1B visas, it's easy to convince poor people that, other poor people are the problem, right?
How does he manage
I get my blood boiling about that. You know what I mean?
How does he manage to convince so many women who are not, pro anti-abortion or whatever, or who are not against who want their own rights, right? That he's the better person to make that decision. How does he manage to do that? Because even women who feel like, that the whole abortion issue and the freedom of making their own choices was important to them, even some of those women lined up for him.
Yeah.
I don't know, Nikki. I don't understand people. I heard today there was a guest on Mark's show who said that it's Fox. It's Fox, and it's this message, and it's on all the time, as you just mentioned, on military bases. She said it's this constant barrage of beating you with misinformation and lies. But how come you and I don't fall for that? Why?
Because we're not watching Fox News,
right? But we have access to the truth. Everyone has access to the truth. Why can't people do a little bit of due diligence?
But I don't watch. I mean, but Kim, you're answering your own question. Obviously, we don't watch Fox News.
If you were hanging out with your parents and you were and they had Fox News on, you would still pick up your phone and go, "Is that true?" And you would do a little search, and you would go, "You know what? No, that's not true."
Right. But if you agree with it,
where's the common sense of the population?
But if it speaks to you, in a way, like let me start. This is my opinion, and I'm just going to take one little corner of it.
Right.
So you're a person who feels a certain way about an issue. Let's just use an example of, and it's an easy one, right? I'm a middle-aged white man. Okay. And all of a sudden you're watching Fox News and they're saying that X, Y, and Z's job is being filled by this brown person. Okay. And you're like, I saw that happening at X, Y, and Z job at this business that I just got laid off from. So now this channel has your attention, right? Because it has confirmed something that you have seen in reality, right? So now it has garnered your trust, right? So I see it in the news, this channel. So now I trust everything that it says because I have seen this happen. My job was taken away by that brown person. So now that must always happen in every instance. And it doesn't, right? I mean, we know that that's one thing that happened and it's so nuanced, but they take it that way. And so multiply that by 1 million, and you just need to speak to people's fears. That's what Fox News does so freaking well. They can tap into people's fears and then they can regurgitate it and spin it 1 million different ways. But I'm going to let Fox News off the hook here. 24-hour news channels do this. All of them do this. Now, I'm not saying that they lie, but that's what they have to do to keep you there, right? They have to say, oh my God, breaking news. We have new developments. Come on now, right? Give everybody a break, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing new. Go play with your kids. Go outside and go for a walk. They don't want you to do that, right? So there's a manipulation going on, same as your phones, same as that oxytocin thing that makes you keep checking your phone. That's what the
Mhm.
24 hours of news channel started with as well. So it's all the same sort of thing. Fox News Channel just does it and taps into fear. And then they have to pay out a bunch of money because they also throw in a bunch of misinformation and flat out lies with it.
Yep.
And it sucks, right?
So then
Exactly.
basically we're a nation of people afraid.
Yes. They want to keep us afraid.
Yeah.
They want to keep us afraid because if we're afraid, we're glued to our TV because we're scared about what's going to happen next. What's going to happen? How many of you have been watching the news more closely? I wasn't planning on watching the friggin' news honestly, I was going to only watch the news today. Like, I didn't want to
Yeah.
watch the news. I didn't want to pick up my phone. But I opened my phone on New Year's Day to see all the Happy New Year and pictures, and then I see New Orleans, and it sucked. And you want to know how many times I told my family, I'm like, Shh, I wanted to talk to Kim about New Year's. I wanted to talk to Kim and everybody on my show about definitely different topics today. But how can you ignore what's going on?
Listen to
Right?
this. According to Bryce, statistics have shown that people who don't watch the news at all are more informed than the people
Yes.
who watch Fox News
I've heard that stat.
24/7.
I've heard that stat before. Yeah. I
That's
mean, because
funny.
they're fed like this these weird kind of
Mhm.
facts, and I'm putting this in quotes because they're not really facts, right?
Yeah.
And you know what I've also found to be interesting is some big issues that you would think would at least cross the attention span of some of these really, informed Fox News watchers. No idea. No idea what I'm talking about. And I'm like, you don't know about, this law or this bill that's about to cross the president's desk or even the governor's desk here in California. What is that? Oh, you mean because it hasn't like gripped the fear you have about the border or immigration or whatever fear
Yeah.
tactic, news article that Trump's been like feeding you, right? Like there are things happening in your community that you should be paying attention to. I bet you're not. So yeah, it's BS. It sucks. Yeah, and I know, Vicky, I love it. I would feel she's like, talk about what you like. And I will be. I really
Yeah.
wanted to talk about the H-1B visa because of the story that you sent me, Kim, about homework. And I feel like it kind of goes together about the
Mhm.
education system and how we're educating American citizens to prepare
Yep.
for the global economy. That's what I wanted to talk about today. And we will in 1 minute, literally. But I did not want to ignore the literal tragedies that have been happening on our soil. Yeah. And so that's that. We're just gonna, continue to follow it and hope and pray that we're not going to see anything else. I mean, literally, there was a plane that went down in Fullerton. I'm not saying that it's anything, but somebody died in a plane. And now everything that happens for over the next few days, I'm hopping on a plane tomorrow. Right.
Mm.
So, because I can only drive one way, I couldn't do it the other way. I drove
Mm.
all the way over here, and I
Or
was
are
like,
you in Arizona right now?
"This is my brother's house." Yes,
Oh, cute. Yes, I
that's what.
love the decorations behind you. I was
So
gonna say, where are you?
this is my sister Jessica. So Jessica, my brother and my brother's wife, my sister-in-law.
Mhm.
She's the one that ordered that cute Nikki Maduro show sign that you see in my
Yeah,
show.
I love
She was the one that
that.
did that. And I mean, if I could show you this house and how nicely decorated it is. But yeah, isn't
Yeah.
this the cutest little this is just one of the trees, by the way.
Very
This is not their
festive.
Christmas tree. This is just one of
Yeah.
I'm like kitty corner on their dining room table just so I could like show off the cute little tree. But
Cute.
yes, so this is their house and it's very, very cute. Oh, thank you, Louise, for the $5 donation. Oh, Nikki, January
Nice.
21st, I love this. Gas will be $2 a gallon, eggs $1 a dozen, milk $1.50. I'll also have some guitars, perfume, and empty promises to sell you. Love your favorite president. Exactly, Louise. I mean, all of my dreams are going to come true. Absolutely going to come true. It's so, so true, right? Okay. So, and Gordon's going to start us off with our new topic. I saw many engineers from India when I worked at Cisco. All right. Let's get into the H1 visa debate, H1B visa debate. Okay.
Mhm.
So, if you haven't been following it, which you've been under a rock lately, there's a lot of infighting going on within the Republican Party regarding H1 visas. Okay. H1B visas. Because, and rightfully so, I would say. I think I've learned more, I would say, in the last week or so about these type of visas than I really think I knew before. Okay. Now I knew that they were used to bring people overseas to work, which is true largely, but not always, at tech companies. Cisco, Google, Apple, those kind of companies, right? They're engineers, they come here. I've learned that there's a cap that is exceeded, like massively overly exceeded. I've learned. Um, I've also learned that now I heard from people like Ann Coulter and others, oh, they can't switch companies. They actually can, I've learned, but it's, you know, if you do switch, you have to be approved. And if you don't, there's no guarantee you're going to go back to your company. So it's a risk that these people have to take. It's not necessarily easy. But here's the problem. Donald Trump and his new buddy Elon Musk, who, by the way, came here on an H-1B visa, and Vivek Ramaswamy, who also came here on an H-1B visa. They're big supporters of it. But Donald Trump wasn't always. This is what Donald Trump said in the 2016 debate regarding H-1B visas.
I know the H-1B very well, and it's something that I frankly use, and I shouldn't be allowed to use. We shouldn't have it. Very, very bad for workers, and it's unfair for our workers, and we should end it.
That's what he said in 2016, that it was very, very bad for America. Now, the reason why is because they do replace American workers. Okay. Because obviously, if you're hiring someone from overseas, you're not hiring an American worker. Go ahead.
Trump. Let's talk about how he brings people over from other countries to work at Mar-a-Lago, to work at his hotel properties.
Exactly. Not a tech company. His properties.
Can't find enough people in America, apparently, to pay well enough to work at the Trump whatever casino, hotel, golf course, pick your favorite.
Right.
And so he's importing people that he can pay less by taking advantage of this. And these are folks that often are paid less than American workers. So this is all about, you know, these people are often they're paid less, they're not unionized, all of these things. And so of course the titans of industry are in support of H-1 visas.
Right.
I you know, and now Elon Musk is like, don't take away the visas, because Elon Musk doesn't want to pay anyone.
Exactly.
There are probably legitimate people that are using these visas that are doing jobs that we don't have enough people to do in America, right? That maybe a highly specialized skill that we don't have enough people to do the work. That's what this visa is for, but it's used in a completely different way.
Right. And I think I'm incorrect. You're right. Vivek, I think his father was brought in on the H-1B visa, not Vivek. But still, again, do you know what other company, if you go, there's a website that shows you all of the companies, Cumulus Media Company, the company my husband works. I mean, 7-Eleven. Obviously they're using the H-1B visa way less than, let's say, Apple. Right? But they still are. Now, are you telling me that some of these companies, food companies, whatever, can't hire an American worker? Not saying the top tier job, but it's this idea, right? I think it's an abuse of the H-1B visa program that is supposed to be capped. Right? That was the whole idea of the H-1 visa program, was that it's supposed to be capped. And the reason, the reason that it's supposed to be capped was because of what everyone is saying, is that it would lead to this kind of replacement of American workers. On the other hand, Vivek and a lot of people are saying, for these companies like Google and Apple, there just aren't enough of these qualified, educated Americans to take these jobs.
Baloney.
Your thoughts, Kim McAllister?
Well, first of all, let me just say, Newsweek, dated May 21st of 2004.
Mhm.
Donald Trump can't find enough Americans to work at Mar-a-Lago. Former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate hired more than 100 foreign workers in 2023, despite casting himself as an immigration hardliner. All right? So it's again hypocrite. Practice what you
Right.
preach. Here's a guy who wants to deport everyone who's bringing people into work here. Well, what is it? You like the immigrants or you don't like the immigrants?
Right.
As far as tech workers,
Mhm.
no. Do you know how many tech layoffs there have been? So many
Mhm.
people out of work, layoffs at Google. And you know who they're laying off? I don't see them really getting rid of the foreign workers first or the people that are contract workers. No, they're getting rid of the people who cost them the most money. So I don't believe that there's not enough tech workers in America, that there's not enough people educated in America to take these tech jobs. I absolutely do not buy it for a second.
You know, it says a lot when someone like Bernie freaking Sanders is agreeing with MAGA, right? I mean,
Mm.
Bernie Sanders has even come out and he has said, yes, absolutely. I mean, the H-1B visas have been abused. This is what he said. Hold on, I want to get. He agreed that the program needs to be completely rehauled. It's never been cheaper for a corporation to hire a guest worker from overseas than an American worker. He also called on a minimum wage increase for guest workers. Oh no, that's Elon Musk. Elon Musk in December 27th post is flip-flopping though. He says the reason I'm in America along with so many critical people who built SpaceX is because of the H-1B visa. Ro Khanna says America is a magnet for the world's brightest talent. We want to attract the best engineers. Laura Loomer says, I've always been America first and a diehard supporter of Trump. But he promised to remove the H-1B visa program, and I support his policy. So there's all these different opinions regarding what should happen to the program. Now, do I think that we should throw out the H-1B visa program? No. But what I do think is we need to stop acting like it's the problem. I don't think the
Right.
H-1B visa program is the problem. I think it needs to be capped. I think we need to follow the rules. Maybe we do need a major overhaul of it. I think the problem is we make it extremely hard for American workers to go into these fields to afford to go to college and to afford to meet the requirements that a lot of these companies want. So, for instance, I was reading, I think it was also in Newsweek, some of these companies want like masters and PhDs, right? It's like, well,
Well,
wait a minute.
in some cases, they want you to have patents.
Like, it,
Like
I,
you've developed software, or you've developed some type of thing that you have patent. I mean, at Google, if you have a patent, you're much more of an attractive candidate.
And I bet it's cheaper
Mhm,
to get all of that crap in China, maybe, I don't know, China, but India, possibly,
mhm.
and then come over here with that on your resume than to get it into an American college that is totally overcharging you for a degree. And then they want to charge you for the master's and the PhD and the patent and all those years of your life, right? And then, oh, by the way, we also don't want to forgive any of your student loan debt. So add that on top
Right.
of it. I mean, we
A-
are just
And
trying to cut your feet off, right?
they want you to go to specific universities, very, elite universities. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know how. It all comes down to, it's always what, follow the money. That's
Yeah.
always about money. It's always about saving money, not paying people what they're worth, not contributing to 401ks, not contributing to pension funds. Pay people as little as you can for the work.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
going to play you this. Now this guy, he kind of goes on a racist rant. This is some comedian, but I think um, this is kind of the MAGA opinion. Okay. So I don't obviously agree with what he's saying at the beginning, but this is kind of the thinking of, wait a minute, this American worker first idea. And this is what I wonder, how Trump is really going to balance this. And this is what I'm interested in seeing once Trump becomes president, because he can't have it both ways. You can't have the H-1 visa program as is, and also support the MAGA agenda. Here we go. What was it going to play? Oh, here we go.
More weekend science competitions,
Oh, here we go.
whiplash, fewer reruns of Friends,
He's saying
more
what Vivo
math
was
tutoring,
saying.
fewer sleepovers, more weekend science competitions, fewer Saturday morning cartoons, more books, less TV, more creating, less chilling. How about more white people, less Indians? How about that? How
Well,
about
this
more
is
white
racist.
people, less Indians? Indians didn't come to this country. No offense. But if we're going to critique the country, how about more people that actually came to the country and fought in those wars? Was there a lot of Indians that fought in the Civil War? I'm confused. I just don't know. It sounds like a racist point, but it's actually not. It's been made by people like Tucker Carlson and Ann Coulter.
Racist.
And if they're racist, then
They
I'm
are.
racist. No
Yes.
one's racist no more.
Yeah, they are.
But it's my point. I understand what he's saying. I wasn't a fan of Friends. I liked Frasier. I understand we need more math competitions and shit like that. But this is the type of shit that is going to eat that movement from the inside. He's basically going out there and saying, by the way, we need to import people because no one in this country is up to the task. So we need.
So that brings us to the topic of homework. Okay. So, Kim, you sent me this article about a new law in California where we are mandating less homework, right? So it starts this year, where we are just going to, it's just basically less homework for students. Now, the reason why I want to tie it to this H-1B visa debate is, are we setting our students, our future generations, up to compete in the global economy with laws like this? I wonder. Now, on one hand, I don't like 2.5 hours of homework, right? I think that, and this is the example I always use, specifically with something like math, because math is one of those things that I always feel like takes way too freaking long. Give me 2 problems. If I understand it, I understand it, right? I mean, come on now. We don't have to do 15 of the same freaking problem, right? I got it.
Well, it's muscle memory. You're gonna remember
exactly.
it if you have to do
get
15.
I get it. But it's like, we could do that in school. We could do that in class too, right? Like
Right.
I understand that. But here's my problem if you don't do the 2.5 hours of homework. What are you filling that time with? People are like, oh, if they're not doing the 2.5 hours of homework, then they're reading. They're not reading. They're not. I know that. Okay. I have kids. They're talking on the phone with their friends. They're socializing. They're not largely, I'm being stereotypical here, but I would say largely a lot of kids are filling that time. If they're not in extracurriculars, I think if they're in extracurriculars, they're filling it with that. But a lot of kids that don't have extracurriculars are filling it with BS. Right? You want your child to be filling it with something educational, and some kids aren't. Well,
So
I mean, something that's filling their brain with something good, I would say, not crap. Not sitting in front of the boob tube, I would say.
They've been at school from almost 8 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon.
Okay.
So they've had a lot of things being filled. Their brain has been filled with a lot of things all day.
Right.
There is something to be said for downtime, right? Where they
Right.
get to veg out and talk to friends or, watch something
Talking to their
that's
friends all day at
not
school.
educational, right? I'm just saying, like, there is a moment, like, it can't be all boom, all math all day, all the time. There's no break. There's nothing, no ever break. And so I get the argument that they need to have a moment. They need to be able to do something that maybe is not educational and we would consider brain rot, watching a
Right.
video, television show or playing a video game or whatever. But I just don't agree with this new homework bill where it's you pressure schools and the schools have to listen to parents if they say, oh, little Tommy has too much homework. I think there are kids that expect to have homework. Like if you're there's going to be more homework in AP or honors classes than if you take the more of a general course load. And so if your kid doesn't want the homework, then go for the general course load. It's fine.
Well,
Don't
I mean,
stress yourself out.
well, maybe if they want to take AP, it's expected that they're going to have homework, and if they
Right.
don't, right? And maybe that's what it should be said. It's like if there's AP,
Mhm.
homework's expected. If it's not, then
Right.
not. But I also think I like the idea, and this honestly is what my kids experience. Homework is just if you didn't finish it in class. Whatever you
Oh
didn't finish it
no.
in class, go home and do. That's what
There's a
that's what my kids typically get. It's like this should have been finished in class, so you have to manage your time in class, but their classes are like an hour and a half long.
right.
So it's like, dude, if you can't finish it in class, it's like you get the instruction, you get to work on the instruction, you get teacher time, group time, finish your stuff, right? So if it's not done yet, then there's a time management problem we need to work on. So yeah.
That's not how it goes over here. There's a lot of homework over here. And sometimes Julia will get out of high school at 3 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
I think 3:20 is when she gets out. Then at 4 o'clock, she has to go back for some type of band practice or drumline practice, or she has to go to orchestra, then doesn't get home until 8 o'clock at night. And so now she's got 2 hours of homework or maybe to study for a test. And she's stressed out that she's not going to finish. She ends up falling asleep with her nose in a book and then is
And that's
begging us
healthy? That's
to
healthy
wake
to
her
you?
up early the next morning. It's not healthy.
Okay,
It's
so
not
you don't want
healthy.
homework.
Well, personally, I do want the homework. I don't
So
like
you
the
want
here's
her to fall
I
asleep
want
with
her to
her
have
face in a
homework,
book.
but just not an egregious amount of homework. So the new law, they're saying it's homework is exhausting, it's overwhelming,
Right.
it's depressing that my whole day from when I wake up to when I go to bed is taken up by homework. So they've authored this assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo from Santa Clara has authored this AB 299. It's called the Healthy Homework Act. It was signed into law by Governor Gavin Newsom earlier this year. It takes effect this year, 2025. It wouldn't ban homework, but it would formally encourage local school boards and educated agencies to establish homework policies that
Blah,
consider
blah,
the
blah.
impact on students' physical and mental health with input from parents, teachers, and students themselves.
I'm like, I'm considering it and I don't care. Do the homework.
Exactly. And it's about,
Ah.
addressing the fact that homework is a stressor for kids. There's
Well, of course it's a stressor,
I
but I
know.
think it's too
I've
much
seen
homework. Do a couple problems or
Mhm,
do a couple, like if it's English, like answer a question or two, whatever it is, science.
mhm.
But I think it's too much of something. It doesn't have to be nothing. I just think they give too much of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Consider how many classes a kid has.
Mhm.
Get off your high horse and think that this is the only class they have
Right.
and give them, like, if for instance, if it's algebra, right? Like, what
Mhm,
is the problem that you want them to most focus on? Explain the problem to me in whatever way that makes sense to you because of Common Core, whatever, right? Like, do it so that I know that you understand it. Okay. You need to explain it to me in a way that I know that we understand it. And let's go, right? Like, I just, I, especially now that I work at a school, especially with kids of different socioeconomic and learning skills. I understand that kids come with so many different things and needs, right? And I understand that there's not one size fits all education. And when you come to education thinking
yeah.
that, you leave so many kids behind. And then we wonder why the education system in this country is failing. On the other hand, it's completely impossible to think that we can, make it a boutique education system for every
Mhm.
student as well, right? But let's just reduce the amount of homework. I think that reducing it, and again do it in class. If you're having a problem, let me give you, okay, if you're having a problem with this is your homework, do these problems, something like that. I think is easy, right? Like
Listen
something
to
like that.
Luis. Luis says we're raising a bunch of entitled, uneducated wallflowers who have almost no resiliency. I've completed 2 master's degrees. It's supposed to be hard. All
I
of these
know.
for-profit online clown schools don't help.
I hear you. I get what you're saying, Louise. And there is a bit of
Uh-huh.
truth to what you're saying. Like, I think there is still this buck up ideology, right, that we grew up with, right?
Mhm.
I can hear, our parents and you're like, shut the hell up. Do your friggin' homework.
That's right.
Stop already, right? And
Yeah.
I get that. On the other hand, there are people our age sitting in cars blowing themselves up, right? So,
Mhm.
we have to come to term, and I'm not saying that that's that. I'm not saying they're the same thing, but we also have to understand that there's a problem in this country that we
Mhm.
haven't come to terms with as well, right? Like we'd love to say we have a mental health crisis in this country, right? There might have been a problem with the buck up thing that we may have been ignoring, right? So I think that this is all part and parcel of the same type of thing. Like we
Mm.
like to just throw everything at the same thing. Like everybody can deal with it at the same time, right? Homework is fine. Everybody's the same. Education's the same. Socialization's the same. We treat bullying the same. We treat all these mental health issues the same. Everyone's not the same. Okay. We don't live in the same neighborhoods, even if we have the same zip code. We don't come from the same homes, even if we're right next door to each other.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just when we're empathetic to that fact, I think that it becomes even more difficult to solve the problem, right?
I
And
like what
so,
Oh,
I
go
don't
ahead.
know.
Sorry. I like
No,
what
no,
teacher
no, go
Lori
ahead.
says. If she said if kids are going to college, how do they learn to manage time when zero work is done in class? If they never have to learn work to do workloads
That's a good
outside of
point.
class, how do they handle college
That's
work?
a good point.
I completely agree. And part of
Yeah,
it is teaching kids how to manage time, how to
yeah.
manage yourself so that, and we've had discussions in this house about, can you are all of the extracurricular activities you're doing, do you want to keep them all? Or maybe, because now it's time when she goes back after winter break, they have to register for classes for junior year. Can you believe we're going to have
Oh,
juniors? And so
no.
it's like, weren't they just freshmen? How did this happen so fast?
Aren't they
And so
just
now we're
babies?
looking at the workload and all the things
Right?
she wants to do and thinking, do you want to continue to take your AP classes, or maybe do you want to scale it down a little bit? If
Yeah,
you're stressed out, now is the time to decide
yeah.
what you
And
want to do.
again, and
Yeah.
also at the same time, we're dealing with burnt out teachers.
Mhm.
I just saw my sister-in-law today, and she was talking about moving her daughter to a different school because most of the teachers were just substitutes who had no experience teaching a math class. And they're
Mhm.
just pulled from we have an education a problem in
Yeah.
this school. And Tammy's like, we may not even have a Department of Education in the future for standards or guidelines.
Mhm.
Right. So like, knows? Who knows? You know what I mean? We might just become a whole country of homeschoolers, and then that's going to be a total S show.
Mhm.
Um, Sandy says I didn't particularly like homework when I was in school, but who does? It's necessary for learning. I will
Mhm.
tell you this: when I was a freshman in high school, I was pretty much grounded the whole entire year, and it was the only time I got good grades because I all I had to do was my homework. Literally, I have a vivid memory of looking at my backpack on the floor of my room. And I was like, well, there's nothing else to do. Like I was just grounded. I was grounded
Mhm.
my whole freshman year because I kept coming home late. And so my dad was like, you're grounded, you're grounded. So I just did my homework and I got good grades.
Mhm.
Homework does serve a purpose.
Sure.
Um, but at the same time, I don't there's other, there's caveats. Do you have a learning disability? Do you have parents at home? Is there arguing going on? Do you have food in your belly? I mean, there's just, and I'm not
Mhm.
trying to be like a total empath to everything that could be going on, but there's so many things that
Yeah.
can be going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Homework is
is
a life
homework a life
skill, says
skill?
Phineas.
It's a college skill. It's
Well,
not
it
a
is a
life
life
skill.
skill because, as Heather says, that they at the end here, they need to learn to deal with stress and priorities, and that is one of the ways they do it. And
I
I do
know.
agree. So I disagree with this homework bill. I think if you have a problem with the homework, you go talk to the school and say, look, this is too much. And if the homework is too much, then your kid's in the wrong class.
You know what I think a good compromise is? If your kid has an extracurricular one night, like one night you're like, I can't, my kid just was exhausted, falling
Mhm.
asleep in a book. She didn't do it tonight. You got to sign a note from your parent that says she couldn't do it tonight. And it's
Yeah.
okay. She's not going to get dinged. But you have to have a parent signing that note. It can't be every night. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That kind of thing. But
So
it's, kind of a grace thing, but not an every night type of thing. How about that?
Julia, for the last 2 years, her math teachers have said, listen, we don't mark your papers late, your homework.
Mhm.
So if you turn in your math homework late, it's fine. We would argue that that doing all of your homework the night of they're due by the night of the test, that
Right.
unit test, right? So you basically have, I don't know, what, 4 weeks? There's a test a month to turn in all your homework. They say it's a bad idea to wait till the night before the test and then try to do all your homework in one night. But if you can't do it one night, you can do 2 assignments in one night, or you can do your assignments on the weekend or whatever else. I found that to be really cool and flexible, because then there are challenging classes like AP chemistry where the homework, has to be turned in and you will get marked down. So
Right.
it allowed her to set these priorities as far as what homework she could push and wait a little bit on, and what she had to turn in now. And that goes to setting priorities, looking at,
Yeah.
how to
Good
manage your
point.
workload, all of the things that really do come into play when you're talking about a job in life.
Yeah. I mean, Phineas asked, how is homework not a life skill? I mean, I don't have homework,
Mhm.
but I do have preparation. Like, I prep for this show. I make
It
sure,
is
like,
homework.
every day
Mhm.
I'm doing stuff for the show. I'm paying attention. So, yeah, I guess in a way, it's just not like someone sending me home with something to do, I guess.
Mhm.
Dave says I have homework from work about an hour a night. It's like prep for the next day. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
It's just, I just,
I
I
I
don't want
have
my
been
kid's childhood to just be filled with homework and crap. You know what I
No,
mean?
but I've been
So
worried that Jacob doesn't have enough homework. He doesn't have as much as Julia had at this age.
you are a hardliner, though. I mean,
Well, no, but I think that having
you
that
don't think he has enough
workload
homework?
has taught her to be successful in how she, in what she's dealing with now. And I don't know if he will be as successful as she is, because
I think that you don't think Jacob has enough homework because I think that you think he needs a little bit more structure because of who Jacob is versus who Julia is. Does that
I
make
a-
sense?
I asked for more.
I swear.
Am I the meanest mom forever? Yeah.
No, I just want to, I
I
just,
asked for more. I'm like, can we get a couple more pages? She's probably like, is this lady
my,
crazy?
exactly. Yeah, she is. She absolutely is. All right. Okay, that's enough for homework. All right. So in the last, like, half of the show, let's talk a little bit about New Year's Eve. Did you do anything fun for New Year's Eve? What did you do? What did you do?
I have to tell you a story. I was at my
Okay.
dad's house in Oregon,
Oh, that's right.
and
How did it go?
everybody
Was
went
everybody
to
healthy?
bed early. Yeah, well, everybody's was okay when we left
Okay.
yesterday, and we got home late last night, and I woke up this morning to news that my dad had a stroke overnight. And
Oh
my
my
dad is
God.
I know, and
I am
he's
so sorry.
currently in the
Okay.
hospital. He
Oh,
was in
sweetie.
he underwent a procedure, and in the cardiac cath lab where they put
Oh my God.
something in the artery, whatever, and he's having an MRI to determine the extent of the damage. But he was slurring his speech and he couldn't move part of his body.
Oh my
So I don't
goodness.
know how severe it is, and we're still waiting on word, and I'm still kind of in a holding pattern as to whether I need
Oh
to
my
go back to Oregon or
goodness.
not. Yeah, it's pretty upsetting. I
Oh,
know
babe, I
you're
didn't even
Yeah,
know. I'm
I
so
know. Well, I don't wanna
sorry.
drag the show down, but I can you believe that? Like, the
I wish
night
you
I
would
get
have
home,
told me. I would have loved
and then
you
my
to have not
husband's
done
like,
this
"Boy,
show.
we must have stressed your dad out. We stroked him out having the kids there." I don't know.
Oh, no, but I think
So
it's
then I
good that
was
you
like, "Oh."
saw him. Oh,
I
babe.
know, I feel really happy that I got to see him, and, in my experience, you have one stroke, and then I worry, when's the next one coming, right?
Yeah. No, you can't think like that
So
though. You
I
know what I
know, I know.
mean? You just can't
Yeah,
think like that. And again, yeah, Dave has a good point. They can perform miracles with stroke these days.
yeah.
And that is true.
He did
My
get to
sister,
the hospital quickly. Yeah.
my sister-in-law's brother is totally recovering from one.
Mhm.
And so yeah, it's I will definitely be saying a lot of prayers for
Yeah.
your dad because I do pray a lot. And so he will be okay. I'm that what a yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunate way to start the year, but I will be having him in my thoughts and prayers
I mean,
so
seriously,
very much.
Nikki, thank you. Terrorist attacks and my dad had a stroke. Wow.
What a way to start the friggin' year, right?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah,
Well, and
right? I
P.S., here
mean,
comes Trump. It's like
I
the
know.
crap Sunday trifecta.
Exactly, right. Anybody else have any sort of, well, not like happy news, but any sort of traditions? Do you do anything? Like I saw this thing on Instagram where people they like fill a jar with something every week that's nice, and then they read it on New Year's.
I
My
love that
kids wanted
idea.
to eat, they wanted
Yeah.
to eat like 12 grapes at midnight. Apparently, that's something that's done. It's supposed to be like 12 wishes for the good
Mhm.
year, but then we didn't have any grapes, so we couldn't do that. They're like, you didn't get the grapes. I'm like, we've never done that before, so I didn't think about doing it. Opening the door, a good easy one that you do on New Year's Day. You're not supposed to do any laundry, which is an
Really?
easy one because that washes away all the good fortune that you get on New Year's. So supposedly you're not supposed to, which was easy. I was like, I'm not home and I'm not doing any laundry. So
Okay.
yeah. And then this was the first New Year's, I think, since I've been engaged to my husband that we spent apart. But because James wasn't here for New
Where
Year's, but
was he?
he was home. He had to work.
Oh, he's home and you're in Arizona, right. Did
Yeah.
you guys do
So
anything as a family with your brother's family there?
so we were here. We just, you're getting old when you're like, is it friggin' midnight yet? I mean, can we just do the New York one? Like, just like, and not only that, but we're an hour ahead here.
Yeah.
So it's 7 here. Okay. So I'm like, son of a bitch. Like because I wanted to FaceTime. So I FaceTimes James for my midnight. And I'm like, well, I got to stay up for one more hour because I got to FaceTime him for his midnight. Like, and everyone was so sweet. They all stayed up with me for mine. But it's like 1:00 in the friggin' morning. And I'm like, dude, let's go to bed. Like, so we just rang in. Like, we had all these things. My sister-in-law's so sweet. She had like a bell. She had all these things. We had some sparklers. And so we did that. You know what I mean? So, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be like a busy month. So tomorrow is what? So tomorrow's gonna be
The 3rd.
so tomorrow is the 3rd, and then is tomorrow going to be, hold on, I wanted to get it up. I think it was Brian Stelter had it up. Um, tomorrow the vote for House Speaker? I think it's tomorrow.
I
No,
think it
yeah.
is tomorrow.
Tomorrow's
Yeah.
the House tomorrow they
Mhm.
vote for a House Speaker. Sunday the 5th is the Golden Globes. Tuesday the 7th is the CES, the Computer Electronics Symposium, whatever. Then
Mhm.
Jimmy Carter, we never even talked about poor Jimmy Carter's whole funeral got overshadowed by, I was going to talk
Mm,
about Jimmy Carter, who I
yeah.
always loved because he was my president. Like I was born during Jimmy Carter's, like
Mhm.
Jimmy Carter died. That's Thursday the 9th. Then Friday the 10th, not only is it Hoda Kotb's last day on today, but SCOTUS will hear the oral arguments in the TikTok case.
Mhm.
Supposedly Sunday the 19th, the TikTok ban is going to take effect, but who knows what's going to happen with that. The 20th is
Well, Trump
D-Day.
has asked the Supreme Court not to
Not to do
rule
that,
on
but
this one, not
he's not president yet because that's the 19th is when he's supposed to have this rally.
sure, but they're all in his pocket. So if he's telling them publicly, "Hey,
Right.
please
Don't
back
do
off the
it.
TikTok case," what do you think the
Right. So he
Supreme
might
Court's
not do
gonna
it.
do? Right.
Right. So, and he's supposed to have this rally on the 19th. Like, why are you
Mhm.
having a rally? Then his inauguration
Exactly.
on the 20th. Blah.
Mhm.
And then obviously then there's like football stuff and everything else happening this month. But yeah, like it's gonna be a pretty busy ass month for January. So hold on to your hats, ladies and gents. And then one more thing that today is, and I wanted to show the picture because today is the 4-year anniversary of it all. Hold on, I get it ready. Today is the 4-year anniversary of the day I got my nugget.
Nugget.
That was him on the left when we got him. That was the day we got him. And that's him. That's him literally yesterday. So my mom
Very
had him
cute.
because he's obviously home. And then James went out on New Year's Day on a bike ride. And
Mhm.
so my parents were babysitting. And my mom like sent me this picture. She's because that's him wanting to jump on her bed and he's not allowed. And that face. So that's my nugget. And I love it. Like I was looking at all of my memories and
Yeah.
everyone commenting. They're like, I can't believe you, Nikki, actually got a dog. Because remember how anti I was?
Mhm.
I was totally an anti-dog. Well, I wasn't an anti-dog person. I was an apathetic dog person.
Yeah.
So that's my nuggie. It's his
Very cute.
anniversary day. So absolutely. So that's my nuggy buggy. I do have some. We're going out to a dinner, so I'm ending the show a little bit. There's Jimmy Carter.
Mhm.
Oh, and he's with his wife. I'm just, you know what I love about Jimmy Carter? that I thought about, by the way. He was able to vote for Kamala Harris, which was actually kind of a weird vote, but he didn't have to see the inauguration of Donald Trump.
He didn't have to see the inauguration, although I do wish we could have sent him out with a win. Wouldn't that have been
I
nice?
know, but I just think it's funny that and then right, the flags will still be at half staff during the inauguration, so he'll be there in spirit.
A nation in mourning for more than one reason.
I just think it's funny. He's like, oh, at least I don't have to sit there for it. Not like he would go, but just still funny. But yeah, oh, Jimmy Carter. He was such a good, and Donald Trump actually even put out a decent statement about Jimmy Carter, even though he talked crap about the guy. There were some vile statements about Jimmy Carter put out by some Republicans, but Donald Trump actually pulled back a bit, which, I guess I can be proud
Jimmy
of him.
Carter, whatever you think of him, his presidency, or whether you felt that he was a success or a failure as a president, the one thing you can't say about him or accuse him of being is a hypocrite.
No,
he
stood by. Yes.
You see somebody like Mike Pence who maybe made the right decision made the right decision at the end, at the last minute. But look at all of the creepy, weird crap that he saw.
The minute he took that VP position,
he was the
sold
vice president
his soul
in the middle of the most corrupt administration. Then you look at somebody like Mike Johnson, who's supposed to be all about God and religion and this and that.
Crap.
And then here he is in Trump's back pocket.
Yeah,
these people are complete hypocrites.
No, but not Jimmy Carter.
You got to give Jimmy Carter credit.
Wasn't he one of those Habitat for Humanity builders too? He was building those homes even when he was hella old.
When he was old in his 90s, he's out there swinging a hammer, helping the homeless.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, really, really, I mean, again, just like you said, you didn't have to agree with him politically. And I know that a lot of people didn't, but you couldn't say he was a bad-hearted man. And so
mad respect.
Absolutely.
He was a very good person.
And lived a hell longer than I thought he was going to after the passing of his wife. Remember I said, I was like, he's going to die right after his wife. And he did not.
Because usually people that are that,
die right after.
In love, they die really quickly, one after the other.
Exactly.
But yeah, I feel like you have to have respect for that.
Absolutely.
He really was true to his own heart and his own, what he believed in life.
Absolutely. Well, okay, we're going out to dinner. That's a little bit of a truncated show here. But thank you, everybody, for being here. I adore you all. Okay, I got to do some thank yous, though. Lori Above the Bar and Daniel D, thank you so much for the $27 donation. You guys are so very generous. I appreciate everybody for being here on the show. Pamela for the $10 donation. Thank you so much.
Oh, look at them all back there.
From Louise.
Hi, girlies.
Hi, girls. There you go. Thank you, Louise, for the $5 donation and the $2 donation. Carter was a success as a human being. Absolutely. You guys, if you want to donate to the show, our super chat is open, even if it is the recording. And of course, please donate to our Patreon. Just go to theNikkiMadoroshow.com, theNikkiMadoroshow.com. Kim, you weren't here when my brother was here. So here's my brother. That's my brother.
Hi. Oh my God. You guys look so much alike. That is the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Alike. Yeah, say cheese.
It's all the teeth. It's the teeth.
You guys are adorable.
So that's my brother, Michael. And also, our super chat is also live. Our Patreon, theNikkiMadoroshow.com. And also, if you want a delicious way to support the show, just go to AuntieTabby's.com. She has a guava barbecue sauce that is absolutely delicious. And every time you donate and use the coupon code NickKim, you get 10% off every single time you order. So just go to AuntieTabby's.com, use the coupon code NickKim, and a portion goes to the show. So thank you guys so much. Happy New Year. We will be back at, of course, our normal time right here next Thursday. We love you guys so very much. Thank you guys for being here.
Sam throwing in.
I love seeing your name in the donation. Thank you so much for the $10 donation. We love you so much. Yeah. Happy New Year, my friend. Thank you. All right, guys, we will see you next week. Cheers. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're sprout like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.